Okay. So today we will do. Do you have your novel,
Yes.
Gulliver's Travel? So we will read chapter number one today.
Okay.
So, okay. So for this, we will watch a video of chapter number one, and we will try to watch it.
And what is the diary?
Hmm.
What's the
Diary.
diary?
Diary.
Yeah.
Diary is just we have to read chapter number one of Gulliver's
Okay.
Travel. Okay. So this is
Gulliver's Travels, Chapter 1,
shipwrecked.
Shipwrecked. In 1674, I was born on my father's small estate in Nottinghamshire, England.
Okay, class. So the writer is telling his own story. He's narrating the story. So it's in 16th century. So let's
Fine,
see.
strong boy, said my father. I think he will be a clever and good man like his grandfather.
I agree,
Said my mother.
let's name him Lemuel after your father.
My childhood was very happy. I liked going to school and learning new things, but I often used to daydream about going to sea. One day,
So
father asked, Lemuel,
okay, so he is growing up now, and the Gulliver's is dreaming about going to the sea or going on a journey or on a voyage to learn new things.
future, I think you would be a good doctor. I wanted to please him, so I said, Yes, father, I'll go to Cambridge University and study medicine.
So
But
his father or dad wants him to become a surgeon or a doctor. So he is saying that I will be a surgeon or I will be a doctor. I will go to a Cambridge University to read further about medicine. Medicine is a doctor's field. So he is saying that I will go and read medicine,
as I
study
spoke,
medicine.
I was thinking, at university, I can also learn things that will be useful to a sailor.
So he wants to be a sailor basically, and he wants to be a sailor. So he is thinking that while I will be going to the university, I can learn about the things that would be useful in a journey of sea. And when he becomes a sailor, he would use all that knowledge that he would learn from university.
After several years of study, I became a doctor. Not long after, I
Now he's a
asked my
doctor.
sweetheart, Mary, to marry me.
Lemuel,
She replied.
I would be very happy to marry you.
Before long, we had children, a boy and a girl. They gave us great joy. I enjoyed being a doctor for the first few years. But then I became bored, and ideas of travel filled my mind.
So
I
he
imagined
now wants
wandering
to
to
travel.
far-off places and seeing wonderful new things. Mary, I said one day, I need more adventure in my life. The captain of a ship about to sail has offered me a job as the ship's doctor.
Oh dear,
Mary replied.
the children and I will miss you very much, and I'll worry about you. When will you come back?
I don't know how long the journey will take, I told her.
So now he has got a job in a ship, and he will work in a ship as a doctor now.
But I promise I will return. And when I do, I'll tell you and the children all about my adventures. So in 1699, I set sail on the Antelope from
So it's
Bristol.
1699.
That city is a large and very old port in the southwest of England. From the dock, Mary called out.
Goodbye, and please be careful. Come back to us soon.
The children waved to me, and I waved back. The captain was a good man and had sailed a great deal. Welcome aboard, Dr. Gulliver, he said. First, we'll be sailing down the Atlantic Ocean and around the coast of Africa.
So
Then
they are
we'll
moving
sail
from Atlantic Ocean to the coast of Africa.
through the Indian Ocean to the South Seas. Our journey went well until one morning, somewhere near Tasmania, in the South Pacific Ocean. I don't like the look of those clouds, the captain said. I think a storm is coming. Within an hour, a violent storm began.
Now they are facing
The
the
sea
first storm in the ocean
rose
in
in
their
great,
journey. First
angry
storm.
waves, much taller than the antelope. The wind, now as strong as a hurricane, made a terrible sound. The wind is blowing the ship off course, shouted the captain. Look out! Suddenly, with a loud crack, the antelope hit some rocks and broke in half. The sailors fell into the sea. Many of them could not swim. The ship sank quickly, and I suppose everyone but me drowned. I am an excellent swimmer and swam with all
He's a
my
swimmer
strength.
too.
My life depended on it. But after a while, I was too tired to swim anymore. Just as I was thinking, I'm going to die too! My feet touched the ocean floor. Slowly, I struggled out of the sea. There were no signs of people on the beach and no houses. I could barely walk, so I lay down on the sand. Within minutes, I fell into a deep sleep.
So that was chapter number one. In chapter number two, he will find himself in a new place where the adventurous world will be different, and he would see everyone would be very tiny people he will meet, and he would be the giant person in that island where he has ended up now. So,
If we
uh,
will read about that, we will read about it today
mhm.
or tomorrow about the
What
second chapter. We
second
will.
chapter? Next time we will read
Okay.
second chapter when we will get in our diary.
Okay,
Then
miss.
we will read our next chapter number two. But let me check if we have chapter number two. If we have time, we can watch it now. Because we are not reading, we are just watching it. Okay, this is chapter two. So let's watch it now. Because we have time.
ए माह रमजान जरा धीरे चल
Okay, so let's see what happens in chapter two. Because we still have 10 minutes in our lecture. So we can watch it.
In part 1, chapter 2 of Gulliver's Travels, Gulliver wakes up in chains on his first morning in the Lilliputian temple.
So now he is waking up with chains all around him, and he is feeling himself being caught by someone. Wait a minute.
He stands up and admires the countryside. He relieves himself inside the building, but feels guilty for doing so. Despite chaining him up, the Lilliputians have treated him with great hospitality. He resolves to make his morning duties outside, away from the temple, so servants can
So
carry
he
him.
has found himself in front of the temple also. First of all, he gets himself untangled of the ropes that he was tied up with, and now he is in front of the temple.
Away his waist. The emperor arrives at the temple on horseback.
And he is the emperor who lives in the temple, and he's so small, and he comes on this horse to talk to the giant person that he has seen as Gulliver's.
Speaks, but Gulliver can't understand his strange language. The emperor leaves.
So
leaving Gulliver
he also doesn't understand the strange language because he didn't come on this island before, so that's first time he's coming.
under the watch of his guards, some of whom attack Gulliver. This violation of the emperor's will and courtesy is treasonous, and as punishment, these guards are given to Gulliver to do with as he pleases. He pretends he's going to eat one soldier to
Okay, so as the soldiers were going to attack Gulliver, so he's picking up one, and everyone is thinking that he's going to eat that man. But I don't think so that a man can eat a man.
scare
So
the
let's
men, but he does not hurt them and gently releases them. Indeed, they are scared out of their wits. Gulliver's mercy impresses the emperor's court. He agrees to give Gulliver meals, servants, and
Okay, so now what's happening that everyone, the emperor saw that he is not doing any, he is not harming them. So he has left the soldiers, and he didn't do anything. He didn't eat them even. The emperor decided to help Gulliver and uh, give him food, servants, and everything that he wants. So they decide to give him all the
To
things,
teach
all
him
the
the Lilliputian
luxuries.
language. Gulliver learns quickly and asks to be set free. The emperor is reluctant about this, and he refuses Gulliver's freedom.
Okay, so emperor is doesn't want to release him. Maybe he's thinking to do something. Maybe he's planning for something in future. That's why he doesn't want to relieve him. Maybe they still want to kill Gulliver, as he's so giant, and they still feel Gulliver's as a threat to them.
Instead, he favors Gulliver and gives him special
I will
accommodations.
not free you.
Gulliver cooperates with the Emperor's order to search Gulliver for weapons. The Emperor does not recognize Gulliver's pistol, so Gulliver demonstrates its function by firing into the air, which terrifies a massive gathering of Lilliputians.
Okay, so now Gulliver has found some weapons, and he gave the demonstration too that this is the weapon. I can damage everything if you won't release me.
Two officers make a detailed inventory of Gulliver's pockets, which to them are full of strange and amazing artifacts. They allow Gulliver to keep most of his things, but he surrenders a knife, a razor, and the pistol. Gulliver takes pains to describe the full state of his desperation to relieve himself as an explanation for his decision to do so inside his house. The detail of his embarrassment demonstrates Gulliver's desire to appear civilized, both to the reader and to the Lilliputians. He wants to make a good impression. It's clear the Lilliputians left Gulliver with no instructions or plans for dealing with his excrement. As satire, this incident highlights the way governments fail to deal with the unintended consequences of decisions. In this case, the decision to keep Gulliver in chains in the temple. They have to clean up a literal mess because they did not anticipate it. And only after the worst has happened do they form a plan to deal with the problem.
So now they're thinking to deal with the problem. They again want to tie Gulliver's in chains, and still they want to arrest the Gulliver, as they think that Gulliver will harm them. And now they have already seen the demonstration of the weapons also, and they asked Gulliver to surrender the weapons like knife or razor or gun, so he doesn't have anything to fight with. So now in chapter 3 we will see what will happen, but today we won't watch it now. Okay, so all of you have the novel. You can read it thoroughly at your home as well, chapter 1. But today we just had to do chapter 1. So you can read the chapter 1 also, and next time we will read chapter 2. When we will read the whole novel, there are questions too that we will give answers. I mean, there would be comprehensions too that we would have to give answers to. Okay, class? So,
Okay.
okay, that is a
Okay.
summary of chapter 1. Like Gulliver's name is Lemuel Gulliver, recounting the story of his life. So he's telling his own story life, beginning with his family history. Like in chapter 1, we read the family history. He is born to a family in Nottinghamshire, the third of 5 sons. Okay, this is his background. Although he studies at Cambridge as a teenager, his family is too poor to keep him there. So he is sent to London to be a surgeon apprentice. So now he is being sent to London because his parents doesn't afford the fees or the expenses of studying in Cambridge. So his father sent him to London. We just saw in the video also. There
And we
under
have, and we have to write in the copy.
no. We just had to go through it. We just had to read it. When
Okay.
we will have question answers, that question answers we might write in the copy, but I don't think so we write it in the copy. We just write it on book, on your novel. We just learn it. We just um, prepare it. I don't think so we write it on copy, but I will ask. Maybe they ask us to write it on copy.
Okay.
Okay, so they're under a man named James Bates. He learns mathematics and navigation with the hope of traveling. So now he was taking training of traveling also. When his apprenticeship ends, he studies physics. He also studies physics, mathematics, and navigation. Why studying that? So that he can travel better in the ships also. He then becomes a surgeon aboard a ship called the Swallow for 3 years. No, where is that? Okay, Mary Burton, I guess. No, no, no. So what was the ship name? Swallow, I think. For 3 years, ship's name is Swallow. So he was a surgeon over there in the ship for 3 years. Afterward, he settles in London working as a doctor. He marries a woman also, Mary, name that we just read in the we saw in the video also. His business begins to fail when his patron dies, so he decides to go to sea again and travels for 6 years. So he travels for 6 years. Although he has planned to return home at the end of this time, he decides to accept one last job on the ship called Antelope. So here is the ship that was the last ship that he worked on, and this ship got crashed and sank, and then he ended up on an different island, strange island he ended up in, and okay. So the envelope Antelope encounters a violent storm in which 12 crewmen died. Six of the crew members, including Gulliver, board a small rowboat to escape. So they got a rowboat to escape from the sea, from the ship, not sea. Soon the rowboat capsizes and Gulliver loses track of his companions. So he lost track of his companions and he went somewhere else. They are never seen again. Gulliver, however, swims safely to shore. Now he has come to the seashore. Gulliver lies down on the grass to rest. So he lies down. And soon he falls asleep. When he wakes up, he finds that his arms, legs, and long hair have been tied to the ground with the pieces of threads. So he's seen himself tied up. He can only look up, so he cannot move himself just to look up. And the bright sun prevents him from seeing anything. He feels something move across his legs and over his chest. So he's feeling something, that something is moving across his legs and chest. He looks down and sees, to his surprise, a 6-inch tall human carrying a bow and arrow. So he's carrying a bow and arrow. At least 40 more little people climb onto his body. He's surprised and shouts loudly, frightening the little people away. So all the people get scared of him, his loud voice. They return, however, and one of the little men cries out, Hakina Daggle. Gulliver struggles to get loose and finally succeed in breaking the strings. So that strings were so delicate that he broke them, and binding his left arm, he loosens the ropes tying his hair so he can return to the so he can turn to the left. In response, the little people fire a volley of arrows into his head and violently attacks his body, and he is now attacking him by aiming the arrows with fires and face on the face. He decides that the safest thing to do is to lie still until the night falls. So the Gulliver is thinking to uh, still till the night fall. The noise increases as the little people build a stage next to Gulliver, about a foot and a half off the ground. One of them climbs into it and makes a speech in a language that Gulliver does not understand. So one man is giving a speech. Gulliver indicates that he is hungry. He was hungry, and the little people bring him baskets of meat. He devours it all and then shows that he's thirsty too. So they bring him two large barrels of wine. Gulliver is tempted to pick up 40 or 50 of the little people and throw them against the ground, but he decides that he has made them a promise of goodwill. So the Gulliver is thinking that he won't harm them because all of them are giving him food and water and wine. So he's grateful of their hospitality. He is also struck by their bravery since they climb onto his body despite his great size. So he is also astonished to see their bravery also by because they were very short and Gulliver was very giant, so they were trying to get control of the Gulliver also. So that was all chapter number 1. It was interesting story. So in chapter 2 and further chapters we'll find out what will happen next. Okay, so attendance.
Ali, मैं moved from
Attendance.
skip branch.
Okay, grade 6 English. Ali Mahmood and Umar Ainur, Ainur Nehan. Isham was also present. And Sarah Ahmed is Wali or Nuria. I think Nuria. Okay, class. I'll see
Mr.
you.
Voice is not clear.
Okay, you are Nuria, right?
Yes, miss.
Okay, I have marked your attendance. So, class, I'll see you next time on Monday.